Alright guys, we're going to go ahead and look at user backups with the tar command. We've used the tar command before to back up specific files, but we can also use the tar command to back up entire file systems, okay? So the following is an example command of how to archive your system. So we have tar-cvpzf, okay? That's a lot of flags, and we're going to go over those here in a second. Then we have the name of the backup file, which is backup.tar.gz, and remember, we always put .gz extension if we're going to be doing gzip. Then we have space -- exclude equals slash backup.tar.gz space -- -1 -file -system / okay? So understand what's going on here. We're going to break down each part of it. So we have all the different flags here. We also have the tar command. So tar is the command that creates the archive and is modified by each letter immediately following it, which are the flags. So we have C for create, V for verbose, which is going to show us exactly what's going on the screen. We have P for preserve, which preserves the permissions of the files put into the archive for restoration later. Okay, so all the permissions on this file are being preserved, okay, so we don't have to change them later on when we create those files. So we have Z, which is gzip, so we're compressing via gzip, and file name, meaning we want to name the file, okay? So this specifies where to store the backup, which is backup.tar.gz. And it's going to be stored in the current working directory. Okay. So let's talk about some system backup options here. There are many methods to provide backup and recovery. Choosing the best process for you or your business will have to take several factors into account. First one we should think about is recovery time objective, or RTO. So basically this is looking at how fast should data be recovered. Okay? Can you continue to operate if your data recovered is not recovered for a day, a week, etc.? Okay? The next one is going to be RPO, or recovery point objective. So this is asking how much data can be lost. Can you lose 2 hours, 2 days, or even 2 weeks of data? So let's look at an example here, or have a little bit of a idea here of maybe what we're looking at. So if you can withstand losing 1 week of data, then a weekly backup would be sufficient, okay? But if you can only withstand losing 1 day, then you probably need to employ a nightly backup, okay? So that's kind of what we're looking at here, is how much data can be lost. We're looking at RPO here, right? You know. So we're saying if we can do with losing a week of data, then well, we can probably get away with running a weekly backup. But if we can really only lose a day of data, then we should probably be employing a nightly backup. Okay. So RTO and RPO are both business metrics that can help you calculate how often to perform data backups. However, there are some key differences between the two guys. So we have assessment basis. RTO reflects your overall business needs. It's a measure of how long your business can survive with IT infrastructure and service disrupted. In contrast, RPO is just about data. It determines how often to back up data and does not reflect other IT needs. Okay? So remember, RTO is how long can your system be down. RPO is how much data can be lost. Okay? So we also have to look at cost relevance. The costs associated with maintaining a demanding RTO may be greater than those of a granular RPO. Okay, and that's because RTO involves your entire business infrastructure and not just data. Again, RTO takes into account other IT architecture aspects. Okay, RPO is all about how much data can be lost. We also have to look at automation for these backups. So meeting your RPO goals simply requires you to perform data backups at the right interval, okay? Which we looked at earlier, weekly, daily, monthly, things like that. Data backups can easily be automated, and an automatic RPO strategy is therefore easy to implement. However, RTO, on the other hand, is more complicated because it involves restoring all IT operations. It's virtually impossible, guys, to achieve RTO goals in a completely automated way, but you should strive to automate as much as you can on these backups. Okay? There's going to be some things that you simply cannot automate by bringing up your IT systems. Okay? And disaster recovery plays a big role into this RTO aspect. Okay, so disaster recovery is something like a tornado or hurricane comes in, takes down your whole data center, and you got to figure out, how do we get everything back? How do we get all these systems back up and running? How do we get all the data back? How do we make sure everything's functioning correctly and all the important documents and data still there? Okay, so that's all the different things you got to think about with RTO. And we also got to think about ease of calculation. So in some ways, RPO is easier to implement because data usage is relatively consistent and there are fewer variables. Because restore times involve your entire operation, not just data, it is more complicated. Again, looking at RTO. Restore times can be changed based on factors such as the time of day, or the day of week at which a disaster occurs. The RTO must be aligned with what is possible by the IT organization. If the minimum restore time possible is 2 hours, then an RTO of 1 hour will never be met. So if administrators must have a good understanding of the IT or of the speeds with which different types of restores can take place. Only then can an RTO be properly negotiated and met based on the needs of the business owners. Guys, all this is saying is that if it takes 3 hours for you to get all the systems back up, everything to get restored from backups, then you can't say, all right, well, let's make our RTO 2 hours. It can't be done, right? You need at least 3 hours to get everything back online and restored from your backups, okay? So you just need to be aware of your systems and how long it actually takes, okay? And this is something I do as a sysadmin. Actually, shortly here, for the accounts I'm working on, we're going to be doing disaster recovery. It's going to be about a week-long thing, and we're going to do a mock trial of everything going down and see how long it actually takes to get everything back up. And we're going to make changes based off of what our findings are from this disaster recovery test.